And so I remember, this is a little later, but I remember my first trip to Europe.
How old were you?
14.
14?
Mm-hmm.
How did you make that happen?
I went with an orchestra.
Where did you go?
We started in Munich and Berlin. That after that trip, when I came home, I know I declared this and I promised myself, you will never stop traveling because you're a different person when you travel, because you learn the different facets of who you can be only when you travel. You can't get it any other way. And I was kind of a hard hit because, we had a tour director, but I didn't go anywhere they told us to go. I see something over there. I didn't show up at the hostel for any of the meals because I didn't like the hostel food. So I found places where I could order things that were kind change my life, but kind of different. Then I realized that we're all skin and bones and blood, but our cultures are the dissimilar effects. But I wanted to access all of that. So, there were the meals in the hostels. There were rehearsals. And we had to go to the rehearsals. So our days were pretty much scripted out for us unless I escaped. So very often I would kind of disappear in the morning. I'd go walking, because I wanted to see everything. And then I would make it back after having had, this is where I discovered anchovy pizza. This restaurant/bar every day to have that anchovy pizza. And then I would go back to the hostel, get my clothes. Then I would show up at the concert hall because I would always find out where we were to be playing that evening. But I was just fascinated by the similarities and the differences. So I didn't generally have a plan for the day. The plan was just to go out and get into mischief and see anything I could see and eat anything that wouldn't eat me. I was a good player, and I generally followed the rules. But at that age, do you know when you would ever have this experience again? It was my first time on an airplane. It was my first time really being away from home. We didn't really take vacations. Just to the beach occasionally. And really, I would let everybody get out of the car and go to the beach. And I would stay in the car, roll the windows down, and read a book because I just wanted quiet. And I wanted everybody to go away. But Europe, that first trip, before we left Munich and went to Berlin.
How was Berlin at that time? Which year is this?
This is 72. 14, you're just, I can't believe I'm here. You know, I can't believe my parents aren't here to watch what I'm, you know, my mom's not there. No, and by 14, my mom had remarried. And I remember the very large argument about whether I could go or not. But travel was the game changer. Music and travel were the game changers for me. Yeah,
It changes you.
Yeah, it did. Because I didn't know. I didn't know any families that traveled abroad. I know that, I'm not saying that they didn't, but I'm saying I wasn't aware. And I do remember one of my English teachers, this would have been the year before, or the early part of the year that I made that first trip. An English teacher, Mr. Houston, brought in home movies to show to our English class. And I believe his family, they were skiing. So they went like to the Alps somewhere or Switzerland. And I remembered looking at this movie. He showed it in class, but I didn't realize at first that this was his family. You know, I thought this was a movie, okay? When I realized that it was him and his family, I remember asking or exclaiming, you mean to tell me that Black people vacation in Europe? Yeah, I did. And I think music did the same thing. I think what I was accessing as part of my youth orchestra training and everything, my family didn't understand the box that had been opened, the Pandora's box.
Absolutely.
And so I think often the sentiment was, oh, I thought I was doing something that was better than what everybody else was doing. No, but it was certainly very, very different. Sure. I think, you know, we all get exposed to a lot of the same things. And to me, it just depends on what you absorb, you know, I've always been a reader, always, even young. You know, we had those Funk and Wagnall dictionaries and encyclopedias, the Time Life books. I wanted to know everything. But I do remember liking a lot of the same things that everybody around me liked. You know, I liked the Jackson 5 and I liked, you know, pop music. But classical music is what grabbed me. And I often wondered why was it that I was so wedded to getting to any country that I could afford to get to with this. And I can never explain why I gravitated toward classical music. And stringed instruments. Because even if there were people who are playing instruments, it may or may not have been classical, but it just, the form captured me. Viola and the cello, because the viola and the cello are the two that are closest to me, to the human voice.
And fresh talent with conductor Renee Baker, fusing contemporary classical to traditional gospel to sultry R&B to creative jazz. Visit the website for more information on this intimate, innovative, and captivating ensemble.